Picture this. You're at a business conference. A man walks in wearing a plain grey crewneck, dark jeans, and clean white sneakers. No logos. No watch. Nothing flashy. You assume he's maybe a mid-level manager, someone who handles logistics, maybe works in IT. Turns out, he just sold his second company for $400 million. Now picture someone else walking into the same room, tailored suit, gold cufflinks, designer loafers, the kind of outfit that screams money. You assume wealth immediately. But later, you find out he's $200,000 in credit card debt, and that suit financed. Something is deeply backwards about how we read wealth through clothing. And once you understand why the truly rich dress the way they do, you'll never look at a plain white t-shirt the same way again. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share has nothing to do with fashion, and everything to do with psychology, power, and a shift in values that separates people who have money from people who merely look like they do. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to hear. Dressing expensively, visibly expensively, logos out, labels showing, is almost always a performance. And performances are for audiences. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, who are you performing for, and why? When someone is still building wealth, still climbing, still trying to earn their seat at the table, clothing becomes a tool of signaling. It says, "Take me seriously. I belong here. I've made it." That's not a character flaw, it's a deeply human response to insecurity and ambition colliding. But here's what changes when someone actually arrives. When the net worth is real, when the rooms they walk into are filled with people who already know the numbers, the need to perform evaporates. Because they're no longer auditioning. They've already got the part. Think about the most powerful people you know of. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck every single day. Mark Zuckerberg's daily grey t-shirt became so iconic it spawned think pieces. These aren't accidents or quirks. They're a philosophy. And that philosophy has a name. It's called stealth wealth, and it's the single biggest shift happening among the genuinely affluent right now. Stealth wealth is the deliberate choice to dress in a way that communicates nothing obvious about your financial status. No logos. No flash. Nothing that invites strangers to assess your net worth at a glance. And this isn't minimalism for minimalism's sake. It's strategic. When you remove the signals, you change the dynamic of every interaction you walk into. People respond to you, your words, your presence, your ideas, not to the brand on your chest. You stop attracting people who are drawn to the status symbol and start attracting people who are drawn to you. There's also something deeper going on. Genuinely wealthy people often develop what researchers call consumption inconspicuousness. The wealthier someone becomes, the less they feel the need to display it. Their identity is no longer tied to what they own or wear. They've moved past the need for external validation into something more self-directed. Contrast that with people who are working toward wealth, who often spend disproportionately on visible luxury goods. Studies in behavioral economics show that people with lower income spend a higher percentage of their disposable income on status goods than the ultra-wealthy do. The Rolex is often on the wrist of someone who can barely afford it, not because they're foolish, but because they're using it as a social tool to communicate a status they haven't yet secured. The rich don't need that tool anymore. But here's the part most people completely miss. Stealth wealth doesn't mean cheap. Not by a long shot. That plain grey crewneck the man at the conference was wearing. Probably $400. The white sneakers. Likely handmade by a cobbler in Milan. The jeans. A Japanese selvage denim brand with a 6-month waiting list and zero social media presence. This is the great irony of old money dressing. They're not spending less, they're spending differently. They've moved away from paying for logos and toward paying for craft. The fabric. The cut. The construction. Things that most people walk right past because they don't know what they're looking at. It's the difference between buying a painting because it's by a famous artist, and buying a painting because you've developed a genuine eye for beauty. One is about external validation. The other is about personal taste. And taste, real taste, is something money alone can't buy. It requires time, exposure, curiosity, and education. It's earned. And people who have it can spot it immediately in each other, even when everyone else walks right past. So the outfit says nothing to strangers on the street. But it says everything to the right people in the right rooms. That's completely intentional. Now let's bring this home, because this isn't just a fascinating observation about rich people's wardrobes. There's something genuinely useful here for you. The way you dress is a direct reflection of who you're trying to impress, and more importantly, why. If you're dressing to prove something to strangers, that's worth sitting with. Because chasing external validation through clothing is an expensive, exhausting, and ultimately empty loop. The shift wealthy people make isn't really about fashion at all. It's a mindset shift, from seeking approval to building identity. From performing status to embodying it. From spending on signals to investing in substance. You don't need to spend $400 on a crewneck to adopt this. The principle is available at any budget. Buy less, buy better, and buy things that genuinely reflect who you are rather than who you want strangers to think you are. Start with fit. A well-fitted $30 trillion shirt will always beat a poorly fitted $300 one. Build with quality basics. Neutral colors. Remove the noise. Let your presence do the work your clothes have been carrying for you. Because here's the thing about the man in the grey crewneck at that conference. When he finally spoke, every single head in the room turned. Not because of what he was wearing. Because of what he said. That's the real flex. If this video shifted something in the way you think about money, status, and how we present ourselves to the world, the next video is going to hit even harder. It's about why wealthy people also drive boring cars, and the psychology behind that choice is just as surprising. It's linked right here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button so you don't miss what's coming next.